It's the Daily Dog.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Daily Doug. Thanks for being with me today as we finish out another week here on the channel. On this Friday, we're doing a Masterpiece Friday, and I'm going to be sharing a reaction that I did a few months ago to Moving Pictures by Rush. I'm going to be sharing with you side one from this classic album. This was our Extended Play Lounge episode number 20 that I recorded and released to our Patreon community back on May 18th of this year. When I heard this album, I had of course heard Tom Sawyer before because I had recorded a reaction to that song specifically for the channel. That was episode 257 from early November of last year. And so as I heard this album, especially side one, I had heard Tom Sawyer before, and when I heard Limelight, I'm like, yeah, I think I've heard that one before. But the other songs, Red Barchetta and YYZ, were first-time listens for me. So this was pre-recorded back in May, but I am happy to share with all of you my reaction to Moving Pictures by Rush. This album, released in 1981, in February of 1981, remains the group's best-selling album. I have heard previously Tom Sawyer, which is currently blocked in most territories on YouTube. I don't think that I've heard anything else from this album, although I see that Limelight and Vital Signs were also single releases, so I might find those familiar. One nugget as I read in that I'll start with before we get to the music, I noted that the band decided to work on a new album instead of prepping a second live album as they were concluding their Permanent Waves tour. And part of the reason that was given for why they were wanting to develop new material is because they were developing this new material that they really liked during their sound checks. And I thought, well, isn't that just a great idea to just jam and come up with new ideas? And almost you're together, you're touring, you might be writing stuff or lyrics on the tour bus, and you get to the next, town, and your gear gets set up. You know what you're going to play that night, and you've played it a lot, so you don't really need to rehearse it. Right? You just need to make sure that everything works. So you might as well just play and continue to write, right? So I think that's kind of fun. Let's see. In October and November of 1980, they went to Le Studio in Morum Heights, Quebec to record the album. I remember seeing the video of Tom Sawyer and like the view out the window. It's snowy out there, right? So let's dive in, y'all. We've got Geddy Lee on the bass pedals, keyboards, and vocals. Alex Lifeson is on the guitars, and Moog Taurus pedals as well. And Neil is on just about everything that he can hit with a stick on the percussion. So all the lyrics are by Neil except for Tom Sawyer, and all of the music is by Alex and Geddy, except for YYZ, which was by Geddy and Neil. So off we go, y'all. I am using the studio recording, and let's hit it. Off we go with Tom Sawyer. Here we go. It's always nice to start these with one you've heard before.
Monday warrior, mean stride. Today's Tom Sawyer, mean pride.
E, down to D, down to A, to the C natural. Remember. The electronic sounds are just cool to me as well. Kind of makes it sound like an album that was created in about 1980, doesn't it?
Today's Tom Sawyer, he gets high on you, and the space he invades, he gets by on you.
So this is 7/8, and one thing I didn't catch last time is it's a symmetrical 7/8 for 2 bars. 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2. It's 2 plus 2 plus 3, and then mirrored as 3 plus 2 plus 2. It's pretty cool. Just awesome, isn't it? I mean, it's their big hit, right? It's, you know, if there's one song I love it. I remember that one even without having to watch the video. Epic. So Tom Sawyer, right? It's a portrait of a modern-day rebel, a free spirit, with lyrics co-written with Pi Dubois, the lyricist for the band, Max Webster. I mean, listen to Neil go on that stuff. He's just the best, right? To the pie. The world is love and life are deep. Maybe as his eyes are wide. A little bit of minor 3 or the flat 3 in there. Before they go to, it was 3 to 4 before they went back to the 1. Right? You'll remember that. Goes up by step, E, F sharp, boom, boom. All right. Neil had said that you know, when he took some of what Pi Dubois had written, he added themes of reconciling, the way that he put it, reconciling the boy and man in himself, and the difference between the way people perceive you and the way that you actually are, and was gravitated toward this this character, right? Of Tom Sawyer, and we get this great tune. So, like I said, it's kind of fun to start one of these, and you know the song. And you not only have heard it a couple times, you've heard it several times. So that one was fun to kind of get the blood going, and now I'm into it and ready to go. The next one, Red Barchetta, is track 2, and I've only just read in, and I know that I think this is referring to a Ferrari, this car, and it is inspired by a short story called A Nice Morning Drive by Richard Foster, and it's set in the future, and it's a futuristic car chase. So let's see what they've got here. This is Red Barchetta. Off we go. Boy, the bass sound. I read that Geddy was using a jazz bass for this recording that was different than the ones he had used previously, saying that he gets a even bigger sound on it.
My uncle has a country place that no one knows about. He says it used to be a farm before the motor law. And on Sundays I eat with the ice and off the turbine.
1 down to 6.
Too far outside
The flat 7.
the wire where my white-haired uncle waits.
Flat 6. Some other stuff.
Jump to the ground as the turbo slows to cross the borderline. Run like the wind as excitement shivers up and down my spine.
Alright.
Down in his barn, my uncle preserved
Down in his barn, my uncle preserved for me an old machine for 50 odd years to keep it as new as has been his nearest dream. If this is an old school Ferrari, y'all, that would have been like from the 50s, maybe? Weekly crime. Huh. I love story time with Rush, y'all. This is just such fun.
In my head, shifting and drifting. Mechanical music.
Just syncopation, just driving it forward. It's like 4 to 1, another 4 to 1, another 4 to 1 in different keys. Burn rubber. I love drumming along with Neil. Neil makes me good. He hits all the stuff right at the right time. Another joins the chase, so the authorities are chasing him. And it's an air car. You know this verse? Ahead of me across the mountainside, a gleaming alloy air car shoots toward me 2 lanes wide. I spin around with shrieking tires. Drive like the wind, man. It's like Neil paired Beyond Thunderdome. Huh. All right. He races back to the farm to dream with his uncle at the fireside. Damn the man, right? 6, flat 7. It's gonna be 4. Yep, that's their progression for this one. Cool. And it's gonna fade out. Fun. I like that one. I like that one. That was cool. Here's what I was going for, y'all. If I'm thinking like this, so the car, if I'm not mistaken, the car is a Ferrari, and it's a classic Ferrari from like the 1950s, maybe the early 1950s. And if it's been 50 years, where was that lyric at? Oh, well, I can't find it now. But if this is being written in the late 70s, right around 1980, and you're talking about a 30-year-old car, a classic car, and you're thinking into the future, right? And it's something about 50 years, wouldn't that be around the year 2000? And they're talking about flying cars? And here we live in the real 2022. Or maybe it's a bizarro 2022 and we're just all stuck here. Who knows? But we're going to move on, y'all. It's YYZ. At least that's what it looks like. And this is track 3. It is an instrumental. From what I have been able to determine about this one, it is named for the local airport of Rush. Pearson International in Toronto is represented by the code YYZ. And also, I think that there's a rhythmic thing that happens in this where they are spelling out YYZ in Morse code. And I think that's really cool as well. I don't know Morse code. I never had to really learn it or rely on it. So off we go, y'all. This is going to be YYZ. Here we go. Okay. I guess that was the YYZ at the beginning. Tritone. Getting Lavia Strangiato vibes from this, especially with that, because it's the same 2 chords, and it's Rush, and it's those 2 chords, so it sounds like that to me. Doing a lot of motivic writing in this one. Short motives that get used again, and over. Wow. Drum solo again. Get it. Neil. I read that Neil would often use this song to do extended drum solos during live shows. Makes sense to me. Whoop-ha. Some more of that 4-to-1 movement. Right? This moves. Another new key. This is rad, y'all. It sounds so good in the headphones. There's those tritones. And that's it? That's all we get at the end? That should be longer. Longer, gentlemen. Anyway, I guess we'll move on. I love that. That was cool. The next song on the album is called Limelight. And let's waste no more time. Off we go. Here we go. I've heard that riff. Yeah. I'm not very familiar with it, but I've heard that riff. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Living on a lighted stage approaches the unreal. For those who think and feel in touch with some reality beyond the gilded cage.
As I read in on this one and read the lyrics ahead of time, this one smacks to me as one that's really personal for Neil. Because we're talking about being in the limelight, which is what they, were, still are. All the world's indeed a stage, and we are merely players, performers, and portrayers, each another's audience outside the gilded cage. I have a note that this is one of Alex's personal favorites of all of his solos. Meanwhile, listen to Geddy. And amazing.
Living in the limelight, the universal dream for those who wish to see. Those who wish to be.
It's the universal dream for those who wish to, you know, to sing, right?
Get on with the fascination, the real relation, the underlying need. The real relation, the underlying need.
I've seen a couple of Rush documentaries, and I've read up on them a little bit, and I remember them talking about how even like after shows, Geddy and Alex would go and meet people, and Neil would be uncomfortable doing that. He was a private person, right? So he was ambivalent. He was ambivalent and maybe even a bit uncomfortable amid all of the limelight, right? And so he writes this tune. In one of these lyrics here, cast in this unlikely role, ill-equipped to act with insufficient tact, one must put up barriers to keep one's self intact. That's why I think it's really personal to him. That's the only spot in the entire piece where I think we get those particular words, and those are the ones that leapt off the page to me when I read in. Whew. What a heck of a side, y'all. That was side one, but we're going to turn it over and go to side two. Okay, y'all, back in real time now. What an amazing listen, right? An amazing album. There is just something about this band that just exhilarates me. I mean, we've got a trio of virtuoso musicians who play each of their instruments with immense flair, with creativity, with power, and somehow they're able to take all of this musical color and combine it, and we're able to yield this Rush color of music and sound that is all their own, from the way that Neil hits the drums, to the way that Alex plays the guitars, to the way that the synths are voiced in sound, to Geddy's playing on the bass and his voice. I mean, no other band can and does sound like Rush. They are a real unique force in the history of music as far as I'm concerned. If you liked this video and you want to see more, the entire video is available on my Patreon. We do 2 extended Play Lounge listens like this every month, where I am listening to an entire album or a very long set of music in one listen. And since this particular episode was recorded, I have also listened to all of Permanent Waves from Rush, and that video is also available on my Patreon. So I am very thankful to all of you for your support and for hanging out with me today and this week. That is all for now. We'll see you next time on another edition of The Daily Doug.